In my last video, I introduced some strange things found in Japanese homes. But after filming that video, I looked around my house again and realized there were still so many more things I could show. So today, let's walk around the house together and discover some of the strange things you can find in a Japanese home. Japanese people have a long tradition of sitting on the floor. That's one reason tatami is used in Japanese rooms, as you know. But if you actually try sitting on the floor for a long time, you quickly realize something. It's harder than it looks. So this is what we use. Wait a moment. This one, a zabuton. It's basically a small cushion made only for sitting, placed directly on the top of the tatami. Okay, let's put now. Just adding this one layer makes a huge difference. A good zabuton can be almost as soft and fluffy as a futon. I'm not sure this zabuton is good enough, but at least I'm comfortable than before. The moment you sit on one, you can immediately feel the difference. But even when this zabuton had one weakness. Winter. In winter, the tatami, but especially here, it's spring now, so it's actually fine. The tatami can get surprisingly cold. No matter how thick your zabuton is, the cold from the tatami slowly comes up from underneath, your legs get cold. And little by little, the chill settles in. So we Japanese people come up with a very simple idea. What if we just put a heater under the zabuton? Alright, so I will take it. Okay, so this is, I'm not sure you see it. This is a zabuton heater. It's very simple. You plug it in and press it on the cushion. But it only warms the exact spot, when you are sitting. It takes a bit of time, but now it's getting warmer. But it actually makes a lot of sense in Japan. A lot of Japanese winter tools aren't designed to warm the whole house perfectly, as I introduced in another video. They are designed basically around a different idea. How do we make just the place you are in comfortable right now? Still, if you keep sitting there far too long, another problem appears. Well, honestly, even Japanese for me, for the first 30 minutes or so, it's fine. But after 1 hour or two, your back actually starts to get tired, You can sit cross-legged, kneel, but keeping that up for a long time is not always easy. So this is what many of us use. So this is zaisu. Okay, so as you can see, it has no legs, it's just a seat and, okay, like this. As you can see, it has no legs, it's just seat and a backrest. In other words, it's a chair made for the floor, obviously, like this. Normally chairs have legs, but in Japan, floor sitting culture lasted so long that instead of people adapting to chairs, the chair evolved to fit the floor. With this, you can stay seated on the floor, like me right now, while resting your back, whether you are, reading, speaking, watching TV or whatever, just relaxing it makes everything much more comfortable. A heater underneath and the zaisu to lean back on. That's a pretty complete winter setup for a Japanese tatami room. And once the room becomes comfortable, you start noticing something else, hair, dust, tiny crumbs. Yeah, it's because on the floor, we can see them very clearly. Not enough to bring out the vacuum cleaner, but also too annoying to ignore. That's when this appears. Koro koro. It's actually sticky roller cleaner. I believe you probably have small lint rollers in your country too for cleaning dust off clothes. But Japanese koro koro is much more integrated into everyday life. The standard type here has a long handle, as you see. So you can use it directly on the floor. I think you can hear the sound maybe. It's good for tatami and carpet. And in those moments, instead of getting out the vacuum, you can just quickly roll this over the floor and clean it up in seconds. The ease is what makes it so useful. You done it? It's dirty a bit. I'm not sure you see it. You just peel off like this. That's it. And cut it. So now it's very ready for the next time. At the end of the day, lightly rolling the tatami and resetting the room. It feels like one of these tiny rhythms of Japanese daily life, captured in a scene or two. Okay, so now recap toward the top of the wall. I'm not sure you see it. You might notice a small hook near the ceiling. Do you know what is this for? Well, most of the year, it does absolutely nothing, honestly. It's the kind of thing you only use a few times a year, but on certain days, it becomes very important. For example, on a big, cleaning days, or when lots of guests are coming over here. On those days, Japanese people sometimes remove the fusuma sliding doors behind me to open in the room. But then there is a problem. Where do you put them? Well, as you see, they are large and easy to tip over. If you just lean them against the wall, even a small vibration can make them fall flat sometimes. That's when this hook becomes unusual. You hang the top of the removed smart on this hook and it stays safely fixed against the wall. But Japanese homes are full of little tools like this, things you barely notice in daily life, but when the moment comes, they make perfect sense. This sense of Japaneseness, I think, doesn't exist only in the structure of a house. It also exists in everyday moments, like slowly enjoying seasonal snacks or taking a moment to relax with a cup of tea. And in that sense of experiencing Japan from home, today's video is sponsored by Sakurako. Sakurako is a monthly Japanese snack box that lets you enjoy Japan's seasons and culture from the comfort of your own home. This month's theme is Heritage of Hiroshima. And this time, there was actually one item in the box that I already eat pretty often myself. It's this Noriten. The refreshing sourness and unique citrus aroma are kind of addictive for me. So this is definitely one I would recommend trying. And it's not just about the snacks. I also love that each box includes Japanese tea. And this month's Sakurako even features a traditional Japanese drink. This month's traditional drink is kuzuyu, along with a piece of tableware. It also includes a booklet with snack descriptions, cultural information about Japan, and urgent information too. So if you're interested check out the link in the description below. You can use my code JAPANWITHNOW to get $5 off your first box. And thank you again to Sakurako for sponsoring this video. Alright, so I believe I'll introduce all weird thing inside this tatami room, so take a small detour. Okay, so there is a small storage space. It's a kind of place where things live that you don't use every day, but also don't want to throw away. Alright, so the first thing you notice here is this heavy stone tool. It's so heavy that even more lifting is very difficult. This is called a chausu, a stone mill used to grind tea leaves into matcha. You place dried tea leaves between the upper and lower stones and slowly rotate it with this. As you do, a bright green powder falls out. That is real matcha. In the past, people in Japan would grind tea leaves like this right before drinking matcha. So freshly ground matcha was said to have a completely different aroma. Today, matcha is already sold in powder form at supermarkets everywhere. So tools like this are almost never used anymore. In my house also, we don't use it anymore. Even the matcha latte you drink at Starbucks ultimately traces back to tools like this, small heavy stones quietly sitting in storage. So now let's leave the storage room. We have so many things here, but not worth introducing maybe. So by this point, I'm getting a little hungry, so let's head to the kitchen. And Japanese kitchens have something built in that often makes people from overseas stop and ask, why is that standard? Okay, someone is cooking, so let's off the phone first. So take a look under the stove. This is not an oven. We actually have an oven below that. It's very rare though. It's a fish grill. In Japan, gas and IH like stoves often come with a built-in grill made specifically for cooking fish. Why? Because Japanese people eat grilled fish a lot. Salmon for breakfast, samba for dinner, sardines in lunch boxes. Cooking fish was such a normal part of daily life in Japan that it didn't just like shape the food, it shaped the kitchen itself. We can set a timer for the stove above here. As I said, someone is cooking. What are they cooking? It's a Japanese curry. It smells good. I don't know who cooked. I think my father though. So here's the timer and it says 4 minutes. So after 4 minutes, this fire automatically turn off. We can set everything actually. Set the temperature of the soup, especially we use it for the deep fry. Yeah, I'm not sure, like we have a lot of functions. I don't use this that much, but like yeah, it's pretty convenient, but not really modern thing. Very old kitchen system, but it's very usual in a Japanese home. So I think we have a lot of like weird stuff here in the kitchen, but I will make another video about that. So now let's leave the kitchen and head down the hallway. In Japanese home, there is one place many people treat as one of the most important spaces of the day, the bath. In many countries, the bathroom is mainly a place to wash yourself. You take a shower, get clean and leave. It's a, obviously functional space. But for Japanese people, the bath is a little different. And that bathing culture gave birth to tools you don't often see elsewhere. So here's bathtub. There's something sitting on top of it. This, a bathtub cover. And maybe your first thought is, why does a bathtub even need a lid? Well, the answer is Japanese families often share the same bath water, one after another. The father goes in, then the mother goes in, then the children, from the first person to the last. 1 or even 2 hours can pass, but especially like big families. During that time, the water needs to stay warm. That's why the cover exists. Therefore, it's a good manners to close this lid after using the bath. And if the water cools down too much, many Japanese baths also have a reheating function called oiraki, which heats the same water back up again. I already introduced that the last video, maybe you can see behind me. But some homes even keep using the same bath water until the next day. The lid is a tool born from a very Japanese bathing culture, one that treats hot water as something worth preserving. But in Japanese bathroom isn't just soaking or taking a shower. Now, look up the ceiling. In the bathroom, see that machine that looks a bit like an air conditioner. Well, it's also air conditioner, actually. That's a bathroom dryer. At first, it sounds like a machine for drying the bathroom itself, but actually it has another important job. This is where people dry their laundry. Japan is a very humid country, especially during the rainy season from June to July. Today is also rainy day. There can be many days when you can't hang clothes outside. So I believe my family used this in the morning. At the same time, many Japanese homes don't have the space for the large dryers common in the US or Europe. So Japanese people came up with another idea. Why not turn the bathroom into a drying room? So you switch on the bathroom dryer, hang clothes inside, and a few hours later, they are dry. One space used for bathing and also a drying laundry. That same Japanese habit of using space for multiple purposes shows up here too. Yeah, we don't have enough brand. That is also the reason though. And when it comes to time hang the laundry, this is the tool that helps a pinch hanger. It's a hanger covered with a lot of little, clothes pins. Socks, underwear, hand towels, small clothes, things like that can all be hung together at once. I'm not sure it's also usual in your country. I personally feel it's not like something special. It's not just like general pinch hanger. But in Japan, the variety is on another level, maybe, stainless like steel ones like this. Of course, we have plastic ones, square ones, round ones, expandable ones, foldable one. Types designed to resist wind, types designed not to tangle, any kinds as we imagine. So my home actually has a dryer, but even then on sunny days, we still use dry clothes outside. That culture of drying things naturally instead of laying concrete on machine is still very strong in Japan, I believe, especially for old generation. For me, it's preferable, but it's not necessary. But anyway, that's exactly why even something as simple as a hanger became such a developed product here in Japan. Okay, so I was just reading the bathroom, but I found just one thing. I'm not sure it's usual in your country or not. This is bathtub slippers. That's weird. It's not even convenient that much, but we Japanese use these slippers. I think you also know we Japanese people use slippers for toilet as well. So many slippers in Japan, but this is one of them. Anyway, alright, let's move. It seems curry is ready now. Yeah, looks great. To dry things in the sun to let the wind pass through, Japanese people have long lived by making good use of airflow. But when you let the window in, something else comes in too: mosquitoes. And to deal with them, Japanese people have a very old, very recognizable tool. Alright, so the mosquito coil. So I'm gonna show you the green spiral incense-like coil. You light one end and it slowly burns, releasing smoke that, repels mosquitoes. If someone asks me what summer smells like in Japan, this is one of the first things I would think of. Using fire and smoke to keep insects away, it's old-fashioned for sure, almost primitive. And yet somehow it feels beautiful as it melts into the summer air. And Japan's summer heat has been getting harsher year by year, especially for people who work outdoors. Construction workers, delivery drivers, security guards, farmers, whoever. The heat can become dangerous every year. So because of that, Japan came up with this invention. A jacket with built-in fans. Small electric fans are built into the clothing itself. We use the battery for that. When you switch on them, air flows through the inside of the clothes, making them, puff up. That airflow helps sweat evaporate and cools the body. So in other words, when there is no air conditioner outside, you become your own air conditioner. That was the idea. Fantastic, I believe. This is something that didn't exist when I was a child. It's a part of newer Japanese summer landscape. Actually, it was originally developed for construction workers, but now it's used by all kinds of people, golfers, hikers, gardeners, whoever. Basically, anyone spending time outdoors in summer. It's not summer now, so it's actually very cold now for me. But I'm thinking about we are using it in the summer. It's really helpful. It's a fantastic item. Okay, so there's another item that lives permanently in many Japanese freezers. An ice pillow. It's very cold, of course. It's a frozen pillow used under the hat. Yeah, it's very cold, so let me put for wire. So when someone has a fever in Japan at night, they lie down with this under the back of their head and let the cold slowly cool them down. We also have something put on the forehead, which is called hiepita. I couldn't find it in my home, but this ice pillow cools back of the head. So if you open the freezer in many Japanese homes, next to the ice cream, there is a good chance you will find one of these waiting there, just in case someone in the family gets sick. Alright, so far we've looked at the tools found inside the home, especially for the summer. But there is one more very distinctive space in a Japanese house, the genkan, which is entryway. As you already know, it's a boundary between outside and inside. In Japan, people take off their shoes there before entering the house. And when they leave, this is where they get ready to step out into the world. And in that space, there are tools made specifically for the act of going out. I'm in Japanese Genkan now, so let me find it first. I think we have here, yeah, this one. This is geta, a traditional Japanese type of footwear made of wooden base with like cloth straps called hanao. So even today, some people still wear them in, especially summer, with yukata clothing or casually for short trips nearby, like kind of, sandal. One of the most distinctive things about geta is the sound. Karankolon, karankolon. That dry wooden sound as they strike the ground. For many Japanese people, that sound is the sound of summer festival. It also decorated backward, as you see. Wearing a yukata, going to fireworks festival, catching goldfish at the street stall, that sound is tied to those kind of, summer memories in Japan. You place your foot on top and your toes hold the, strap between the big toe and the second toe. And that way of wearing them led to the next item. Alright, so this one. These are tabi in Japanese. At the first glance, they look like socks. Yeah, it's literally socks though. But look closely. The big toe is separated from the other four toes. Why? So they can be worn with geta or zori sandals. Foot strap go between the toes. The geta is separated here. If normal socks don't work for that. So Japan developed socks where only the big toe is separated. While tabi appear across traditional Japanese culture, like tea ceremony, flower arrangement, kimono, martial arts, and Japanese dance also, I believe. In almost any formal setting that takes place on tatami, this tabi are essential. And white tabi, like this, in particular, this is a bit older, a sign of formal dress. They are supposed to be spotless. Even the smallest stain is unacceptable, especially in some traditional event. So in this one, like small item, you can already see something very Japanese, a strong sensitivity to cleanness and presentation. Once your feet are ready, the next thing is what you carry in your hands. At the time, what we Japanese use, especially very old time, this one. The furoshiki, just a single square piece of cloth. But with this one cloth, Japanese people can wrap almost anything. Lunch boxes, gifts, books, wine bottle maybe, watermelons, and extra cloth face. If you see old Japanese pictures, you can definitely find this one. People use this, very usual, to bring something. It doesn't matter what shape it is, it can all be wrapped. There are surprisingly many ways to tie it. Chain the knot and it becomes a backpack or elegant gift wrapping. And one of the most important uses of furoshiki was for bringing gift when visiting someone's home. I think it's different now, but bringing a small gift when you visit someone has long been considered good manners. And traditionally, instead of carrying it in a paper bag, people wrap it in a furoshiki. An interesting thing is this culture kind of exists even today when bringing a gift to a business partner or someone important. Using a furoshiki can still be seen as proper etiquette. It's a tool that turns consideration for other people into visible form. And this kind of consideration doesn't only appear in formal gift. It also shows up in everyday life. Look at this. As we all know, this is a book. But if you look closely, it has a paper cover wrapped around it. And in Japan, when you buy a book at a bookstore, the staff often asks, would you like a cover? And if you say yes, they quickly hold the sheet of paper around the book and put it on for you for free. So why do bookstores do that? And why we Japanese need it? One reason is, I believe, privacy. If you are reading on the train, the cover hides what book you are reading, so the people next to you can't see. This book is actually very normal book, but it's somehow covered. But anyway, another reason I believe is protection. Japanese people tend to treat books carefree, and the cover, helps keep them green, obviously. Maybe some people want to sell it to others. This is very, usual thing in Japan. So when you walk around inside a Japanese house, you can find something like this behind me. In Japan, there is a custom of displaying the animal of the year in your home. This year is the year of the horse. So that is why the horse is like displayed. Next year is the year of sheep, and the cycle repeats every 12 years. Well, people place these ornaments in the entryway or the living room during the New Year season. At the end of the year, they put it away and bring out the next one. So, and if you see that horse, there is one more thing about that. That is an ofura in Japanese. I think I can take it, so let's take a look closely. Alright, so this is ofura, sacred paper charm received from a shrine or temple. Japanese people believe that divine protection resides within it, I think. Well, people praise them in a specific part of the home. I think the most common one is onkamidana, with wishes like, may our family stay healthy, may our home stay peaceful, may we be safe from accidents, something like that. This one is gakugyo zoshin, so it's believed like hoping you study well. Once a year, the old ofura is returned to a shrine or temple, as I remember, and the new one is received. That yearly exchange is one of the quiet seasonal rhythms still present in Japanese homes. So as we know, Japanese people place invincible goods into paper and then invite them to live inside the house. It's a very Japanese home of belief. That sense of living together with something sacred is like still alive in Japanese homes today. I'm sure there is one more thing that you probably don't have in your home. Wait a moment. It has here the soroban. So the soroban is a tool for doing math. Even now in the age of calculators and smartphones, Japanese elementary schools still teach soroban to children. But why is that? When you use a soroban, you flick the beads with your fingers, moving your hands and your brain at the same time. And as you do this over and over again, an image of this soroban build up in your head. So people who have used the soroban for years can do calculations without one in front of them. They just move the soroban inside their head. It's actually faster than calculator doing complex math entirely in their brain. Japan still has these human calculators trained by the soroban. Okay, so one more thing I want to introduce is behind me, the calligraphy equipment. Brushes, ink, inkstone, paperweights, and special paper. In Japan, all children learn calligraphy in elementary school. And I did too. I still remember trying to write my name and kanji with a brush, failing badly, getting ink all over my hands, my clothes, even my face. Yeah, that was annoying. And I'm not good at it, honestly. So why? In the age of, pencils and pens, the Japanese schools still teach children how to write with a brush. Well, I believe because in Japan, writing with brush has long meant more than just writing words. You grind the ink and calm your mind. You load the brush. You steady your breathing and then stroke by stroke, you write carefully. Calligraphy was seen as a form of mental discipline in Japan. And every new year, this is very typical Japanese culture, there is a custom called kakizome in Japanese, the first calligraphy of the year, where people write their goals or the word they want to carry into the new year. So that is a part of traditional rhythm of Japanese life. And when I was a student, my winter homework was always that every year. So taking a step back and looking around again, Japanese homes really strange places. I was born and raised in Japan, so surrounded by all of these objects. But when you all say that's so unusual, it helps me and realize, see my own country in a completely new way. So I'm very thank you, I really mean that, and I'm sure there are still many more. By the way, out of everything I showed today, which one surprised you the most? I also made another video about unusual things found in Japanese homes, so if you haven't seen it yet, please check it out from here. And with that, I will see you in the next video. See you soon.